And I think this is Patrick McCray. This is Patrick McCray, and I'm here with the half hour Twilight Zone hour, and I'm here with the fabulous
Gallant.
of Collinsport After Dark, and here we go. We are talking about the fourth season of Twilight Zone, the 1 hour episodes, and commemorate our third episode of this. We're doing the last episode of the season, called the Bald Cap or the Bard.
the,
Um,
the Bard
uh,
Ball Cap.
and there are times in this episode where it's a little bit of a trial to get through, and you kind of hope it would be spelled Barred. Um, but all seriousness aside, which is about the level of humor
Hmm.
of the episode.
Oh, it's
Um,
total. It just self-describes as satire. That's a bit of a stretch. It's more like buffoonery in places, but
it
it's
is
it's fine.
on Gilbert Gottfried's Amazing Colossal podcast. He has Alan Alda on as a guest one day, and Alda's talking about how I think it was either his dad or his granddad was in vaudeville, and probably both. But that his
Well, his
father
dad was
just
what was called, and this is not a it's not a horrible term actually. His dad was what was called a tit singer. He worked in burlesque.
okay. So yeah. So this story is that, and I think he did it from infancy. He's from very young, and he talks about being a kid and describing not Alan Alda being a kid, but I think his father being a kid, and describing the skits that he was in, and that the punchlines, even Alda, quoting his father, Robert Alda, it totally admit, Alda completely admits it's a humor that's almost indecipherable to modern ears.
Right, sure.
We're used to people younger than ourselves finding nothing funny, unless it's some weird ironic meme or something. And that things like W.C. Fields and Marx Brothers are largely going to be lost on them. And we tell ourselves, maybe accurately, that it's just a matter of taste. Because then we can look at humor also from an earlier era that predates ourselves, and it's like it's from outer space. It
Hmm.
really
Some of it,
makes
yeah.
some of it makes very little sense, or we're embarrassed by the sense that it makes. And most of Jack Weston's shtick in this falls in that category. I sort of academically understand why it's funny,
Yes.
but wow, is it? His mugging would get much better by the time he was doing the Ritz.
Oh, absolutely, it did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And also, I think it has to do with the direction he was taken, and also um, uh, this this particular teleplay Rod Serling wrote. He wrote it with a hatchet instead of a pen
Oh
because
yeah,
he was PO'd at a bunch of advertisers and television executives.
good. So this is an attack on them
Oh, absolutely.
rewriting the script, and the wife doesn't like this, and so we'll
Yeah,
get rid of that. I love that.
yeah,
Okay, good,
yeah. Uh,
good, good,
yeah,
good.
it's so, but Weston still is very vaudevillian burlesque in terms of
Wow.
his responses. He would be called in today's parlance, he would be called a mugger.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And
There's a real Will Kemp kind of performance here. Um, to get even more weirdly theater history ish. Uh, yeah, and so much time is lavished on shtick being played out that you can see screaming down the 75 miles away.
I will,
Um,
yeah, it's true. I will tell you one thing that ameliorates him are the scenes that he has with Judy Strangis,
is she the
the
girl?
kid,
She's great.
the
Oh,
kid.
wait a minute. Judy Strangis, wasn't she all over like 70s television?
She was on Electra Woman and Dinah Girl. She was Dinah Girl.
Oh my. Yes, you're right. She certainly was.
Yes, yeah, among many other things, but that was her big thing. That was her big
That's
shot with with television.
Deirdre Hall.
Deidre Hall. Yep, absolutely.
Yes.
Another interesting and weird thing about this episode is that Marge Redman, who plays the executive secretary, is
Uh-huh.
actually Jack Weston's wife at the time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when she's zinging him, I'm just thinking to myself, she's getting some stuff out here.
She is. She definitely is. And Rita Moreno's warming up.
Yeah.
She's thinking this ring finger's awfully empty.
Yeah.
Jack's a big man, makes a big check.
Yes.
Creates a big
Absolutely.
ring.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. All right. Yeah, it's Jack Weston's a performer I really like, except for in this.
Well,
And
he's forgivable because we already know of his other work. So,
and that's the thing.
yeah.
That's the thing. He's only well, I won't say this, but he's one of the reasons why he's not very funny in this is because we do know about the Ritz. We do know
Mhm.
about the Four Seasons. We know about what he's going to be capable of later.
Yes.
And I hope he looked back on his career, seriously, with a lot of pride.
Yes, absolutely. And I do think that he was probably directed to be this kind of shticky, goofy, terrible writer in the vein of something that would come out of vaudeville, a
Yeah.
vaudeville skit.
Yeah. Yeah. Serling doesn't really mind making the writer completely unflattering as a representative. And even Shakespeare's a jerk in
Yes,
this.
yes.
Because you think Shakespeare's going to
Stealing
write out
from
the
himself.
episode.
He's
Pardon?
stealing from himself.
He is. It's ruthlessly. Which is one of the more cynical ideas, because by that Shakespeare's admitting, no, even I won't be remembered, so I can just liberally steal from myself. It's like, oh
Right.
God, how sad.
Either that, or he's run out of ideas by the time
That's
he's
it.
resurrected.
I had 37, 38.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. Now here I am with a cheesy bald cap. Call Albert Salmi right now. We're gonna.
Who was John
class action
Williams?
suit.
Who was John William? Do you know?
No, I don't. I don't even know if he was really British. He could have been a put on,
I think he
prep
was
school,
probably from Brooklyn.
British accent.
Yeah.
But I do not know who that dude was. I mean, I can maybe
He's fun.
look.
Now, it's sure if you want.
He was English.
Okay.
He was he is remembered for his role as Chief Inspector Hubbard in Alfred Hitchcock's Dial M.
All right, sure.
The chauffeur in Billy Wilder's Sabrina. Both of these are in 1954, so that's back a ways. He's in Witness for the Prosecution.
So there's two Wilder movies.
He was the second Mr. French on Family Affair in its first season. So he was in the pilot and the first few episodes.
So this was before Sebastian Cabot.
Sebastian Cabot was ill.
Oh, all right.
Took over. He's like playing his brother, so he was also.
Okay. Because I would think the earlier Mr. French would be Mr. Gall.
Yeah.
But it's just thank you, Alan. Thank you.
Yeah.
Condolences.
You're welcome. Set up. Come on, give me the.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. So to drag something legitimate into the conversation, one of the things that I really liked about this was that it was a very clear snapshot of certain things about the era, the regard with which method acting was taken.
Yes,
because now we take it as a given. This is a great thing. It is it is one of the great contributions to the 20th century.
Yeah.
And here it's just ludicrous.
Yeah.
Like tertiary motivation.
It's thrown
when I started to think about it, does make sense as a term, but to the average viewer, it's nonsense.
No, and it's thrown in with the same kind of ridicule that beatnik poets were getting at the time. I mean, they were doing a lot of that beatnik stuff on TV at the same time.
Sure. Petticoat Junction. She does Mersey Dotes as a beat poem.
Yeah.
Which was actually pretty entertaining.
Yes.
So we get that. We get just general intellectual television, is almost being treated badly by Serling. I forget what the joke was, but there was a joke about fairly highbrow TV that kind of felt like it was a little more person. Like there was a height of brow that was even too high for Serling to put up with. And I don't remember what the gag was, but I was kind of surprised by it. And of course, Burt Reynolds is bloody astounding in this.
I know he is.
I mean, Burt, he even manages to work his upper lip so that it has that Brando-esque kind of Cupid's bow quality.
Yeah, I don't think Brando liked this. I think he held it against him for a while.
Because it's accurate.
Yes.
It's accurate.
It's totally accurate.
It's unflattering.
Yeah. It's 1963, but it's Brando in 1950. That's what it is.
It wasn't like that. It was. I think Reynolds was just terrific, and it is one of those things that future historians are going to use, even though they'll know they're looking at an exaggeration. Future historians are going to use to kind of understand what was going on with the acting training at the time, and the way that we look at different documents to figure out how Shakespeare was pronounced. I think this is going to be an important piece for future historians.
It will be an important piece in terms of seeing societal attitudes towards it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, because you have to put a filter on.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is an exaggerated, satire, and so we have to.
Still, it's the way Mr. and Mrs. John Q saw this sort of thing.
Oh,
so reflecting this, and it was probably the way a lot of the more established entertainers saw it as well.
Well, and what experiences was Serling having occasionally with self-important actors?
Right, wanted to change his dialogue. Yeah.
That was it's like I can imagine Serling, kind of like Shakespeare, writing his main characters older and older and older, so he wouldn't have to deal with that type of actor. Yeah. Because I think Serling's a guy who's very, very literate, very verbal. He's going to want someone who can very clearly articulate his thoughts.
Yeah.
Very elegantly, and that's not it. That's getting in the way.
The interesting thing about Reynolds here is, too, he's kind of ageless. He's actually only 26.
My God.
And he could be 36, or he could be 19.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just in that place that he was in 1970, in 1972, in terms of his looks and everything else. He really is kind of ageless at this point.
Well, it's that Serling mustache rule. If he has no mustache, or if he has a beard, it's a good movie. It's a good TV show.
Yeah.
If he has just the mustache,
sometimes
not.
Yeah.
But it's that's a great truism. Any other thoughts on the Bard?
You mentioned before it was of its time. It's the boardroom scene is almost like Mad Men, only it's on silliness steroids. Which is interesting to see that too. And of course that is the actual period. So they of course they're getting it right. But I thought it obviously they had an interesting twist at the end, because he wants everything all's well that ends well.
Sure.
So he ends up having another spell, and he ends up with this consulting firm of every historical character you could think of. So somebody got paid for an under 5. A whole bunch of people got paid for an under 5.
I'm sure they were thrilled.
Yes, I'm sure. Just get in this costume, walk on the set. Okay, here's your check.
Thank you, Rod.
Thank you. Absolutely. But yeah, it's not the performance by which Jack Weston should be remembered, but it's kind of a fun little episode.
And there's so much of it.
Yes, there is so much.
In such small portions. There's so much of it. All right. Well, I look forward maybe to more of these in the days to come. Now tomorrow, though, we're back with Jewel for His Gal Friday, even though it's on a Thursday.
It's true.
We're recording it. How odd. Alan, have a great night.
You too, sir.
Take care. Bye.